Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum. Straight talk about you and your money. Now from the BizTalk studios, here is Gary Kaltbaum.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. I'm Gary Kaltbaum, your host. Hey, thanks for being with us today. Glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. Happy that you are listening. It is Tuesday, October 8th, 2024. And in case you don't know, this is serious talk on everything that affects you. We do the markets, the election, taxes, debt, deficits, scams, shams, corruptions, the Morlocks in D.C., and hurricanes, unfortunately. And if you do not get this radio show in your city, we will post it at GaryK.com. We'll also post it on our Twitter feed, which is now X. And if you don't follow us on X, you should follow us on X. And if you'd like to email us, just be nice. So we'll start off with Hurricane Milton is arriving first through the west coast of Florida, and it's going to be really rough on the west coast of Florida. I can only imagine it's going to hit as a Category 3, it looks like. And you know what we said yesterday, it has no bias, it is a killer. I am about 150 miles northeast of where its landfall. I expect a Category 1, between a 1 and a 2, I guess, when it hits here. We have moved the family as of tomorrow morning into a real sturdy hotel, just in case. And we have a sturdy house, but I don't screw around with these things. I've seen what they can do. And we'll see how it goes. I hate the fact that it is slowed down a little bit. I like it going 15 miles an hour. It was going about 10 to 12, and right now I think it's about 8 to 9. On our end, the good news is they're telling us that highest winds will be 80, and there'll be gusts, but we'll be getting whatever. What does that mean? Whatever. Tomorrow, we'll see whether we'll do the show or not. If not, Adam's at the ready. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do the show, and frankly, it'll be gone on Thursday. And it'll just be a matter of what came of it. But we wish everybody well, especially the west coast of Florida. A lot of the damage is done by water. And in case you don't know, there's a lot of water there. So fingers crossed. I went to college in Tampa, University of South Florida. I basically played on the tennis team and went to the beach. That's one of my big regrets in life is I didn't do anything with my college. If I had to do it all over again, I would have been a lot serious about it, a lot more serious about it, but that's on me. All right, so there's the hurricane. And, of course, you can follow it and watch it and all that fun stuff. Milton. We segue. A few things I wanted to cover off the get-go. As far as the hurricane, and we do this without bias. We say this without bias. We don't see R or D. I give a standing ovation to the Governor DeSantis here. I think he does a magnificent job. I measure government by their, what I call, leadership skills. And what I mean by that is, do they have command? Do they have command of the situation? Are they on top of things? And he is big time on top of it. You can tell that he is, let me just say it again. He's on top of it, and he's out there. Unfortunately, Miss Harris tried to play politics today, and she was basically kicked in the head right back trying to play politics. Anyway, that's number one. Number two, we'll stick with that side. Hey, I don't really know who Bill Whitaker is, but he is an interviewer, a reporter, an anchor on 60 Minutes, and he interviewed Kamala Harris. And I have not watched the whole interview yet. I'll do that tonight. But he did his job. You know how I have told you I have offered $250,000 to Harris, to her favorite charity, so I can interview her. Well, I don't need to anymore. Bill Whitaker did a great job. If you have a chance to watch it, he did a great job. He held the powerful to account. And all I can tell you, stumbling, mumbling, fumbling, bubbling. There's only one thing I think Whitaker did not do, which I would have definitely done. I wouldn't have been as nice. You know, we're dealing with the leader of the free world, and I wouldn't have been as nice. But good job on what I've seen, and I will check it out. But then I find out they edited out some of the things she said and replaced it with other things. That's 60 Minutes editorial people. So that sucked. Welcome to our world. I didn't see anything of Trump today, but my pinned tweet stands. The Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague. The things we find out about Trump on a daily basis, pretty much want to throw up. But we do have a binary choice here. And as I have said to you under no uncertain terms, we cannot continue the trajectory of Biden-Harris, which means, you know what the alternative is. We can't go with this trajectory. It's just a con game. Massive government growth, reach, control, debt and deficits, and then come after you. Their favorite line is fair share. Go screw your fair share. What are you talking fair share? If they took every dime from every billionaire, every dime, it would fund 5-6 months of the government. Just remember the con. Spend us into oblivion, then come tax us into oblivion saying, well, we just can't afford these very important things that we're doing. The one thing I love with Trump, if he follows through with it, and you never know with this guy, Elon Musk wants to run the government efficiency program, meaning they're going to root out all the crap. Oh, music to my ears. I would quit everything I do right now for that job. You give me the government and watch what I do. The second year, there would be no debt, no deficits. I'd be able to cut it to the bone and not miss a beat. You do realize they're scamming the hell out of you. They're spending so much waste it's not even funny. But Trump ain't going to give me that job if he wins. Anyway, my pinned tweet stands. The Ebola virus versus the bubonic plague. And we move on. Next. The New York Times had an article on debt. The New York Times is worried about debt? Huh. They've been watching the debt skyrocket forever. And now all of a sudden they're worried about our debt. I love these people. And of course, the rest of the media has drowned that out. Unfortunately. Our number one crisis is our government. No, really. There are good parts of the government. But our number one crisis is our government and what they are doing. Any of you ever asked the question, they spent $4.4 trillion the year before COVID. It's now $7 trillion. Where's that other $2.6 trillion going? You ever asked that? You should. we move on. That's enough of Washington, D.C. I'm sick of them too. And we'll keep covering them as we move forward. Hopefully we'll be on air tomorrow during the hurricane. And we'll actually be getting some decent winds tomorrow at 4 or 5 o'clock. I think just like 40-mile-an-hour winds or something like that. China. Notice the big segue. China. Wait till you hear what happened overnight. I'm Gary. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Hi, I'm Gary Kaltbaum, host of the nationally syndicated radio show Investor's Edge. We're not just handsome radio people. We manage investors' money for a living, specializing in fee-based discretionary money management. No big commissions, just a fee on the assets that's managed. We also provide a full range of personalized services, including retirement planning, fixed income, and educational needs, all to assist you in achieving your financial goals. Understanding not all individuals have the same needs, we'll carefully evaluate your personal goals to determine a proper investment strategy. If your current approach to investing is not getting you to where you would like to be, call us to make an appointment for a complimentary portfolio review. The number to call is 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. That's 888-422-5559. Investment advisory services offered through Kaltbaum Capital Management.
It's time to switch on the integrator units and get the brain cells working.
You're listening to
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Investor's Edge
The last bastion of quality programming.
with Gary Kaltbaum.
It doesn't get better than this.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. We segue China. So, as you know, we take on nobody in the industry. We put down nobody. We have no interest in it. The only person we have taken on is Cathie Wood. And not because we want to. We don't enjoy how much money she has lost for people that have invested with her. We hate that. What we dislike is how the young lady goes on TV and acts like, I'm up 300%. Her fund down 70 some odd percent since 21. I'm not making this up. And she'll go on TV. I don't know if the word's arrogant, but she'll go on the TV and like, she's having great years. And the reason we bring that up, because she's also predicted Bitcoin to go to 1.5 million. I think she has a Tesla number also out, whatever. And we don't mind predictions. We don't pay attention to predictions. But we bring her up because we've received, I'm going to guess 500 to 1,000 emails. What do you think? What do you think? So we figure we do it here, and we take no joy. We don't mention any names here. Only when we name names, it's with compliments. We have no interest in putting down because the business is tough. This is a tough freaking business I'm in. Without naming names, though, yesterday, a major investment bank puts out the note that they are now bullish on China, and we expect another 20% move. Another one upgrades it. China. And what have I said to you about China. The move it just had is like a redwood tree with the Eiffel Tower on top of it, with the Seattle Space Needle on top of it, and after a move like that, they're now telling you to buy it. We're in the thought process. We're sellers, if we had any, and we didn't, of course. And this is why we'd love you all to become technicians, because there are certain moments in time you don't buy things. And that's after something does a moonshot. I was stunned, and I was asked about it on Charles Payne's show yesterday on Fox Business, and he had mentioned who it was, and I'm not going to mention who it was. There was no way I was going to put them down. So I kind of shrugged it and just said, well, we think the better is pullbacks. And we mentioned Alibaba near $100, and I think it closed yesterday at $117. And $100 would still have it up pretty nicely off of this move. Well, in case you don't know, they came back from vacation, China and all that crap, and they had another announcement, and I have to tell you, I didn't even pay attention to the announcement. All I know is today, they removed some of the Space Needle. And as we had said to you, part of this move in China was commodity prices going up with it. The casinos, because they make a lot of their profits over there. Oils, well, they got squashed today. And when I say squashed, in the relation to the move up, it really isn't a squashing. If you bought it yesterday, it's a squashing. And some things are more high octane than others, like CWEP, which is the Internet Index ETF, down 19%, by the way, on a gap to the downside. The FXI, not as high beta, still down 9% today. One of the strongest names, symbol FUTU, down 13%. And to tell you how crazy it is, hit a low today at 102, closed at 112. Still down 17 and change. So I didn't own it on the way up. I certainly didn't own it overnight. And what I do believe is there's a chance this thing can go much higher. A chance. I don't know. What we'll do as a technician is we're going to start looking to see where's the area that's showing defense. Where is that area? And you don't know in a day. You don't know usually in days. It's usually weeks. But in this case, who the heck knows, because these things have been trading like penny stocks. But we'll advise. We'll let you know. Rough day today, just everything down between 6 and 20%, 5 and 20% depending what it is. On gaps, in other words, you can't sell overnight. You got to wait. And of course, we watched how many gaps to the upside. And to be clear, I don't know if they're going to gap them up tomorrow or they gap them down again tomorrow. I don't know. It's a lot of frickin' guesswork, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of guesswork. That's China for you. Fundamentally, I still worry about China. As I have said to you, they built cities, not buildings, not blocks, but cities. And I hear they're taking some of them down. The property business there, troublesome. And too much of that darn government. They were going towards market forces, and this guy Xi decided, I'm a communist. There's no market forces. So just letting you know, we'll see how it plays out. First real ugly day. Oil prices down $3, good, because they were going up. Oil stocks were trash today. Commodity stocks were trash today. And up next, the rest of thine market. As we wait for Milton. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
Listening to
America is talking.
Investor's Edge.
He's got to be pleased with that. The crowd is just on its feet here. He's a Cinderella boy.
With Gary Kaltbaum.
Comes highly recommended. You're going to feel better if you talk to him.
And welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So nice day today in the market. The opposite of yesterday. What was the NASDAQ down 200 and something yesterday? It was up 259 today. 1.5%. Usual suspects. Our number one stock, Meta, up $8. Went to 600 yesterday. Got hit back down. We'll see if it gets through. Just remember, we're big believers of the big number theory. You get through that big number. NVIDIA up another 5, a little bit above another range. Things like Spotify 7, ServiceNow was up 16, CrowdStrike 6, Oracle 4 and change, Netflix 19. It's a good day. Salesforce.com in the Dow up 7. Home Depot up 6, but I think that is the hurricane. And I learned something new, by the way, on generators. I've never had a generator, even though I've lived in Florida a long time. I had no idea you're not supposed to put your generator in your house. You're supposed to have one of those extension cords. You put it outside because of carbon monoxide. I wouldn't have known that. I mean, I would have checked if I got a generator. Learned something new every day. I had no idea about that. But just a good day. While China was smacked, while the commodities were down, while oils are down. And to be clear, there are some areas that have topped out recently. I can tell you the hospitals have topped out for now. You already know about the commodities. Insurance stocks were whacked yesterday. Some of them bounced today. Some of them were down. And that's going to be what we call all depends on what happens with another hurricane. Dow up 126. And in the Dow Day, Home Depot 6. Apple bounced 3 and change. Almost 4. Salesforce.com is set up 7. Microsoft still below the 200-day moving average, was up 4. Travelers bounced 4 after getting trashed yesterday with the rest of the insurance stocks. S&P up a juicy 55. NASDAQ 259. NASDAQ 100 307. And just usual suspects in NASDAQ, and let's hope that continues because you know what I love. I love the NASDAQ. A lot of stocks have created a lot of wealth on the NASDAQ through the years because a lot of technology goes through there. And in case you don't know, the productivity gains that we have had over the last 20 years, it's ill. And by the way, that's a compliment when I say ill. Amazing, huh? Amazing. I still remember when Margot Vuicic, the head of HR, my old firm, I think it was 1990, I don't know what year, let's call it 93, 94, walks into my office, hey, we're going to set you up with inter-office email. And I said, what's that? Well, you can mail people inside the office. What do I need that for? I can just go in there, walk in their office. Just letting you know. I remember that day. You know how you remember little things? That was one of those things. Think about where we've come. And I try to tell my sons how lucky they have it. And I have my goddaughters too. And I try to explain to them, when I was a kid, my Google was the Encyclopedia Britannica, and it was 1 year old. And if you wanted to find out the history of Abraham Lincoln, you go to L and you open it up, and there's probably, I don't know, a few pages at most. And now, Google Abraham Lincoln and his history. Oh my God, what's there? That's why it pisses me off so bad to see these ass clowns praising Hamas and blasting Israel as apartheid, because if they just Google, well, right now in Google there's some crap on there if you put in Israel, but if they really got the truth, they know, but they don't care. They're all boring anyhow at this point. Anyway, that's why we love tech, and in case you don't know, the greatest growth rates have been out of tech and some retail and things like that. I mean, NVIDIA, the growth rate in this sucker? Wow. And it's not just that. There's plenty of names. And we've, as I've said, we've had it in restaurants. Chipotle. I mean, holy crap. You know, I've made money on Chipotle, but for such an easy business to understand, I'm so pissed at myself. Do you know the stock, it came public in 2006, and it was 79 cents. You know, they just did a big split. It was 79 cents that week. It's $58 today. And I've never really made big money on it. And it's so easy to understand. It's a freaking little restaurant that serves the same thing, and they plastered it everywhere. Boom. I did have Outback Steakhouse for a decent move. I did have JetBlue for a good move when it first came public. I still remember. My buddy Kevin said, you got to own this. I don't like airlines. Just get it. And boom, it worked for a while. Sometimes, oftentimes, just look around you and experience it. Spirit Airlines is, I think, about to go bankrupt. Have you ever flown them? Kmart just shut their last big store. Were you ever in one? Just the little things, kids. And there's some companies now that are up against it. Up against it. And sometimes it's pricing. I think Starbucks could be in big trouble. And they're not going bankrupt. The world ain't ending. I don't mean it that way. There's no way they can keep charging. There are some coffees in there for $7, $8. There's no way. People walking out with a coffee and a breakfast sandwich with $13. Ain't going to happen. And guess what? Store-wide sales down 6% year over year. And they bring in a new CEO. What is he going to do? People are now price conscious. This is how it's going to work going forward. So just give you an idea how we think, what we look at. And sometimes they are sore thumbs. They just stick out. Not all the time, but sometimes. And you see it in the stores. or restaurants, or what's the hot product and who puts the chips in there. But also remember, the greatest stocks will top out on their greatest numbers because growth go the other way. And when you go to Costco and you see how busy they are, I don't know how Costco is going to stay at these prices at 55 times earnings, but that's what the market believes right now. And Walmart, where it is. Just amazing stories. Amazing stories. And too often people are pessimistic. End of the world's at hand. And these companies keep delivering year after year. And all I can tell you is we're looking for the next big one. What's that next big application? That next unbelievable retailer or restaurant? Don't know. Just remember, the greatest names in the next 10 years, there's going to be a bunch you've never heard of. That's how it works. And that's why we keep an eye on the IPO market big time. Up next, probably some other news of the day. This is the one and only Investor's Edge.
You're listening to...
What are we waiting for?
Well, what are you waiting for?
1, 2, ready, go.
Action!
Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum.
Welcome once again to Investor's Edge. So I don't think Rush is ever going to tour again. Very depressed. One group I have to see, and I thought they weren't going to be touring again in the U.S., but they announced one just now. Coldplay. You ever see them in concert? I saw them once. They played this iHeart Music Festival in Vegas, and I just happened to be out there, and they played a set. And I still remember this guy, Chris Martin. It was one of the coolest things I've ever heard from a musician. He starts out by saying, 4 years ago, we played at the so-and-so bar 2 miles from here off the strip in Vegas. We had 6 people watching us, and by the time we were done, there were 2 people left. That's what he said. That night, he was in the MGM Grand Garden Arena. I was 17,000, and now they fill stadiums like there's no tomorrow. They're going to be doing a stadium tour here. I believe they're going to be in Miami. Whatever. Got to see it. They put on a very good show. But all my favorite music is Genesis, Toast. Yes, they're broken up and they toured separately into I don't know what weirdness. Steely Dan, one passed away. Rush doesn't look like they're going to tour again. I just saw the Stones and the Eagles. I will see the Eagles at the Sphere in the next few months in Vegas. I will be doing that. But Glenn Frey passed away. The guy who used to sing for Journey will never sing for them again, so it's now Fake Journey, and I've never seen Fake Journey. Just saw Springsteen a few months ago. Incredible. And Billy Joel I just saw again for like the 18th time. But most of them, that's it. Darn it. I don't think there's enough money to pay Geddy Lee to tour again. In the news, the Jets fired their head coach. I can think of some other teams that should be doing the same, just letting you know. The Mets play at 5 o'clock. What a great game. 2 great games. They lost the last game. Man, it would have been great if they beat Philly and go to New York up 2-0. That's going to be a very tough series. And that's your sports of the day. I read only one other story. Thieves surrounded a Los Angeles Dodgers starting pitcher Walker Buehler last month outside a horse racing track and ripped a $100,000 Rolex off his wrist. And there's a lot of that going on, I hear, in LA. I wear no jewelry. No, thank you. The Buffett indicator. I had somebody ask me about the Buffett indicator. Well, Google the words the Buffett indicator, and we just want to let you know it is 2 times higher than it should be, the market, according to the Buffett indicator. Go look it up. That way you learn it. And we bring it up because the guy's pretty damn good at timing. He's got $300 billion in cash, where usually he'd be deploying it. So we're watching that. The Buffett indicator. $300 billion in cash. And he sold a ton of Apple, though I just think it was a matter of being overweight. I don't take that as a negative. But there are certain things we watch, and that's one of them. The problem with it is, it's been in the levels you'd be scared out of your wits for a long while, and the market was at lower prices. And that's why we follow the market first, everything else secondary. But we keep it in our file manager because the guy's pretty damn good. I don't think I've ever seen somebody that has a feel for not only good business, but for the valuing of good business and business as a whole. And he thinks the market, well, his indicator says the market is ridiculously valued. Time, yeah, what a dumb statement. Time will tell. I just wanted to mention that just because it's something I'm watching closely. Bond market, 4.033 on the 10-year, ticked up a little bit today. Not a big deal, but something to watch. NASDAQ didn't care about it today, and that's good to see. I'm also being asked about seasonality in October, not the crash, but a better market. I'm all for it. And let me give you a couple of numbers here. NASDAQ, you listening? If the NASDAQ can get above 18,327 and the NASDAQ 100 can get above 20,273, that would be a nice looking taking out of important resistance and get us back to the old highs, which was in July. And that would mean more points on the scoreboard. 2 numbers I am watching closely. The semiconductors, little different story. I can give you some resistance numbers, but I have to tell you, there's like 5 or 6 stocks in shape. The rest look like crap. And it tells you how those 5 or 6 stocks are quite overweight of the semiconductor index. Broadcom, Nvidia, for starters. And it just so happens Broadcom on the strong side, Nvidia's coming on. Let's hope it continues. That all said, you have a great evening. Drive carefully. If you're near Tampa, get the hell out of there. Hopefully we'll be on the air tomorrow. And when you get home, do like we do. Quite simple. Make sure you hug your family. Make sure you hug your children. They will feel better. You will feel better, I promise. Stay well. Be well. Thanks for joining us. Good night.
This has been Investor's Edge with Gary Kaltbaum on BizTalk. To listen to past episodes or to get in contact with Gary, go to GaryK.com. That's GaryK.com.